Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers, and I'm looking today at a book from Tolley's. It's one that many people will know. It's this book here. It's Tolley's Tax Guide. It's written by a number of people whom I'll mention in a minute. It's for the current tax year, 2010 to 11. That's the information on the back. Nice little quote. Voted the nation's favourite tax book, it says. And I think they're probably right about that. The book is given a subtitle, Clear, Concise Guidance on All Aspects of UK Taxation. That's what it is. What you can see when you look at the book itself is you see the sort of information contained in it. Useful paragraph numbering at the side so you can find things quite quickly. I liked the detailed index, which I thought was very helpful at the back of the book itself. And you've also got very useful examples of how the various tax regimes work. You can see one example there. You've got a lot of detail, and on chapter 13 alone, unlucky for some but not for us, you've got a useful series of headings, so you've got some idea of what each chapter has. Do be careful though, because this is about nearly 900 pages long, and it's, in fact, the pages are a little bit flimsy, so do be careful because you might possibly find it a little bit easy to tear. There is a note at the front about how to, what the book's about and how to use it, which I also think is helpful. Now, my wife and I have written a review of this book, and we've given it the title, An Objective Unbiased Guide to the Full Range of UK Taxes, and this is what we say. The authors, I should mention, there are a number of them, are Arnold Homer, Rita Burrows, Claire Hayes, Ruth Newman and Francesca Lagerberg. They're actually mentioned here in the front piece, and obviously their work with LexisNexis has been extremely important in compiling this guide. This is a book I always order each year, people have said. I would not be able to run my practice without it, and I think they're right. That's exactly what this book. So this terse and appreciative comment by a typical chartered accountant typically spotlights the usefulness and indeed the necessity of acquiring this latest edition of Tolley's Tax Guide, particularly if you're involved professionally in any matters relating to UK tax, because as I say, it is really a very useful, friendly guide. Unlike other tax guides which specialise in one or two categories of tax, such as stamp duties, Tolley's Tax Guide covers the full range of UK taxes in basically one volume. And it's quite a heavy book actually, but it's one you'll see all over the place, so it's something that is actually well known and well established. It's aimed primarily at tax advisors, and the book is also deemed to be equally accessible to business and personal taxpayers, and that's really why it's got such a general approach. And on the whole we would agree therefore, except that we're sure the more accountancy knowledge you have, the easier the subject matter is to understand. And I'm sure anybody in the legal profession would accept that, because our training is relatively limited on that side, but we do have to have a good understanding of the balance sheet, for instance. Nonetheless, you can be confident that whatever your tax query, the answer resides in Tolley's, whether you're concerned with income tax and capital gains tax, self-assessment included, or corporation tax, inheritance tax, VAT and stamp taxes, etc. Also covered are council tax, business rates, statutory sick pay, paternity, adoption and paternity pay, as well as national insurance contributions, bearing in mind the controversies that are currently surfacing about the future of NI and income tax itself. And worked examples, as I've shown, are given in the book to show its practical application, which I find very helpful. One of the well-known and much depended upon range of Tolley's annuals on tax, this particular book I think is the most well-known, and it's now in its 29th edition. Bang up to date, of course, for this year. The wealth of new material therefore includes commentaries on the Third Finance Bill of 2010, as now an Act, published and in receipt of, obviously, of the Royal Assent when this went to press at the end of last year, that is 2010, because I'm doing this review towards the middle of 2011. All chapters incorporate changes that have taken place since the last edition, and most of the chapters feature tax points, which usefully point up the various tax planning opportunities available within the various categories of taxation. It's presented, in our view, in a very straightforward language, and this latest edition should prove indispensable in helping you gain a further understanding of the tax system, thus assisting you and those you advise in reducing tax bills where you can. Certainly the guide is made as easy to use as possible, with a terrific 50-page subject index, which I've indicated to you at the back, and I'll just show it again because it really does give you a great deal of assistance. There are detailed tables of contents and everything else that you would like, plus the summary of the main tax changes, which I also found helpful. So in all, Tolley continues to live up to its reputation as a great reference book, this one in particular. It's well organised and it's packed with practical information and strategies which you can adopt, and it certainly remains a title you should reorder each year. So thank you to the authors and to Tolley LexisNexis for producing it. I'm sure you'll see it in your shops like Smith's and Waterstones. It's well worth looking at, and it's certainly something we should be aware of. Thank you to all concerned. Bye bye.